Hello and welcome to Phantoms in the Brain by Ramachandran. We're chapters 3 and 4, and I'll be starting off with chapters 3. My name is Begier. Before we get started, I kind of want to get to what Ramachandran is trying to get to, I think, in chapter 3, and that is that body image doesn't just come from one place. It isn't just made up of one thing. That it actually it's made of multiple things. It comes from multiple places. That it's not just one thing. So let's see. Ramachandran starts off chapter 3 with Mirabel Kumar. She's a 25-year-old grad student who is born without any limbs at all. She just has these little stumps that hang off the end of her arms. There's no bones, no hand bones, and anything like that. She just has slight little fingernail tips in the end. So even though she was born without hands, she has phantoms, which is odd. Ramachandran was actually thought that, or he'd heard that most people who were born without any arms at all did not have phantoms. So he was surprised to hear of this. There's 3 odd things she does have with her phantoms. First one is that she gesticulates with them when she talks. So like when she talks, she wants to use her hands. Except when she's running, she doesn't. They're stuck to her side when she runs. They're plastered to her side. And that's because there's 2 different parts of the brain that are actually at work there. One that is involved in running and balance and all that, and then the other one is for talking, just for conveying. Let's see. Also, another thing that's odd with her is that her phantoms are not regular length, or as long as they should be. They're actually shorter than they are. And when she goes in for prosthetics, she has to argue with the person about the length of them. The person who's making the prosthetic wants them to look as normal and natural as possible, so they put them at regular length. But that doesn't feel right to her. She wants her hands to fit into her prosthetics like a glove, and to do that, they need to be a lot shorter. And so her and the person who makes her prosthetics have to meet somewhere in the middle and find ones that are short enough that make her happy and long enough that don't make her look odd. So this suggests that she has no visual or kinesthetic feedback at all. So she can't see that she has arms because she doesn't. She doesn't her arms. She doesn't feel them because there's no feeling. She doesn't feel them. She doesn't get feedback from the muscles and the joints. And her body is saying, there's no arms. Yet she has these phantoms there. So Ramachandran suggests that, at least in part, that Mirabel's body image is due to genetics. So we're born with this map or feeling of what our body should be like, and that Ramachandran says it as each of us has an internally hardwired image of the body and limbs at birth. So that's the first thing that says that our body image is partly due to genetics. The second place he goes, the second person here is his name's John McGrath, and he's an amateur athlete, and he lost his left arm below the elbow, and he's got a really unique case. Very interesting in reading this. He actually has what is called a telescoped phantom, and what that is it feels like his hand is hooked right onto the end of his stub, where the end of his injury is. Except for if he wants to get a check, or he's like serving a ball in tennis, he says, or goes to get balance, then he's moving this arm, and that he could, if there was a cup of coffee that was 2 feet away, he could make his phantom go out and like virtually grab the coffee cup. So this gets Ramachandran thinking, and he thinks, well, how far could his arm extend? If, let's say, if I let him grab onto the coffee cup and I slowly pulled it, would his arm stretch? How far would it stretch? Could he grab the moon? I think Ramachandran actually asked that question. So he asked John to reach out for this cup, and as he does, he pulls the cup away, thinking that he will extend his telescope phantom. Instead, what happens is John says, "Ow, don't do that. That really hurt." So this was, Ramachandran didn't dare do that. This was a kind of an eye-opener for him here. And this really got him wondering what actually is vision's role in sustaining phantom limbs. And that's also the first time that he brings up phantom pain. But I think the big thing to bring away from this is that vision is also a part of body image. So now we have genetics and vision. And then lastly, the last person I will talk about today is Robert Townsend. And he's a 55-year-old who lost his left arm 6 inches above the elbow. And it was due to cancer that he lost it. Now he's got a case where he has involuntary clenching of his fists. He clenches so hard that you can feel the fingernails, his phantom fingernails, digging into his phantom palm. And it digs it in, it does it so long and so hard that it's excruciating pain. So Ramachandran suggests that this is due to the motor cortex is sending out a signal that says, move your arm. So he's feedback from these signals from the muscles and joints is not fed back to the brain. So the brain says, well, push harder. No feedback. So it pushes harder and pushes harder and pushes harder until it is amplified so many times more than what the normal signal would be that Ramachandran thinks that maybe the sense of the effort may be interpreted as pain. And the nails digging, he was wondering why the nails actually, why the nails are part of it. And he thinks that it's part of a memory link, or what's called a Hebbian link. And it's so that you can summon, whenever you think of your hand, you can summon this image up into your mind of your hand with nails, and that when he summons this image is summoned up, that but it is very intense. It's a very intense pain. So what are the implications of all this? Well, the one is that our body image is very plastic. It can be changed very easily, as you'll see with some of the illusions that are left in chapter 3. And that your body image doesn't just come from one place. It's part visual. It's part genetics. It's part feedback. And lastly, I want to talk about is that what he really starts to talk about here, and doesn't really go into more detail here in chapter 3, but is that pain is an option. Is that he gets rid of this pain, this phantom pain that isn't really there. I mean, they can obviously feel it, but then he gets rid of it. So what were they feeling? What was that pain? What is pain? And I think he really starts to ask this question. So that's all for me, and thank you very much.